Okay, so we're a week late, but we're getting to Severance. Okay, so this is a new Apple TV Plus series, which is created by Dan Erickson. Yeah, it's a definitely an interesting one, people. Ben Stiller and Alfie McArdle direct the series. Um, it is executive produced by Stiller, Erickson, Nicholas Weinstock, Jackie Cohen, Mark Friedman, Andrew Colville, Chris Black, and John Cameron. Produced by Adam Scott, Patricia Arquette, and McArdle. Each episode, and I believe there are 10. I feel there's 10. I might be wrong. But yeah, they're around 50 to 57 minutes. You know what I mean? It's about, yeah, I'd say it's about that, right? And our cast, it is a good cast, right? So Adam Scott is our main character, as it were, Mark Scout, right? He has got a sister called Devon, who's played by Jen Tollock, and Devon is married to Rickon, who is played by Michael Chernus. And I feel the name Rickon does fit that character because the character is, I mean, he's a character, right? Now at work, Mark's colleagues, we have got Dylan, played by Zach Cherry. There is also Irvin. Dylan is like kind of, he wants to be the Joker, right? And Irvin, who is played by John Turturro, he is the dude that follows the rules to a T, right? Is like, yes, the company loves us and we should uphold everything, can be loyal, and they would never do us wrong. That's who Irvin is. Um, there is a new employee who we meet called Helly, and she is played by Britt Lauer. The supervisor for the division, right, in which they all work, right, the macro data refinement division. He is called Seth Milchick, and he's played by Tramela Tillman. We also have got their boss, right, who is played by Patricia Arquette, and that is Harmony Cabell. We also learned something else about old Harmony Cabell, which really gets crazy. Right? We have Petey, who Helly is replacing. He is played by Yul Vasquez. And yeah, he was Mark's best friend at work. There is Mr. Garner, played by Michael Cumpsty, who is, I know, he's kind of an enforcer at the workplace, but we're not quite sure what he really does. You know what I mean? There is a Natalie, who is the bald liaison, and she is played by Sydney Cole Alexander. Um, who have I missed? Oh, we've got Bert, who is the chief of optics and design, and he is played by Christopher Walken. Yes. Um, and him and Irvin, they get on pretty well. They meet and they feel, wow, they seem like similar minds. Oh, and then there's Miss Casey, who is the wellness counselor, and she is played by Ditchin Lackman. So yeah, that's the cast, people, and the gist of the film, the series film is yeah, the gist is this, right? Mark leads a team of office workers at Lumen Industries whose memories have been surgically divided between their work and their personal lives in a process known as severance. Yes, it's a weird medical procedure, people. Whoa. Um, yeah, it means that your work memories are yeah, they're separate. So you essentially have two people: your work persona, your inner, and your outie. Your innie and your outie. That's how they kind of form it. When a mysterious colleague appears outside of work to Mark, it begins a journey to discover the truth about their jobs. So, this is like super kind of weird and mysterious. And when it first starts, the thing that really jumped to mind was I think it was an NBC show. I think it was NBC. It was called Profit, and it was about a dude who was a cutthroat at work, but in his at home he was still kind of living in the trauma of his childhood, and he used to sleep in a cardboard box. It was like super weird, and he was getting revenge on people, and it was like twisted, but yo, it was good, man. It was really good. I don't think the like because yeah, their times always shifted over this side of the pond, and I don't think we ever got the end of the series. Maybe the series didn't actually end. I don't know, but that's what really jumped to mind. But yo, it is definitely a lot different, right? Because we open up with a girl on a conference table, right? Who we later find out is Helly. So she's on this conference table, and then we hear a voice talking to her, and it's just like asking all these questions, and it's just like, huh, what the fuck is going on? Right? There's the camera, we're going from a top view, and then we start to kind of low to eye level, and it's panning around the room and just like boom. And yeah, so it's super, you're super intrigued. We then jump to a guy in his car crying, who we discover is Mark, right? He then gets out the car, he's in the car park of work, and we see him enter the building. And entering the building is this real kind of military the building itself is frigging huge, right? It kind of reminded me of the turbine hall, like the entrance bit, the turbine hall of the Tate Modern, right? And so you go in and he has to wait to be allowed up in the lift, and then has to get, a guy with a thing to be like, "Brr, brr, 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 all of that. We then see him go to his locker where he's wearing a pass, a watch, shoes. All of these get exchanged. Yeah, all of these items get exchanged. So there's a different watch, a different pass, new pair of shoes. So it's properly odd. And then as he's walking in, again, mad load of space, right? And where he works, just 4 cubicles, connected desk cubicles in the center of another huge room. So you're like, and the computers they're using, they're kind of a bit like those old school Macs.
Is there something else I can help with?
No, Siri. Yeah, a bit like those old fashioned Macs with the colored background, with the colored, bassy bit on the back. But all of these are blue. You know what I mean? It is a bit like all the decor is very uniformed. There's not really any creative edges. And when we see the pictures and things like that, although Irvin thinks they're very majestic and, you know, spiritual, they're a little twisted. You know what I mean? They're a little twisted, right? And so you're just like, oh, what is this about, right? What is happening here? We get this whole as it goes on, we learn about this different persona. But yeah, as Mark comes, he learns his best friend at work has resigned, right? Has left. So it's all a bit like, he gets promoted, right? And then he has to do an induction, which takes us to the very start, right? Of Helly on the desk, and we see Mark, do all the steps we saw at the beginning, and then it goes further from there. We learn this is how they all got the job, right? But they know what it is going in, right? They have to record this message and all of this. None of this is spoilers. Don't worry. But it lays the groundwork, right? Lays the groundwork. And you just in your head, you're trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, because this is definitely odd. There's something happening because the work we see them do, it's a weird one, right? They're just doing shit with numbers. Now, I used to work in accounts, people. Yeah, crazy, right? I did bank reconciliation, which is crunching numbers, and this isn't that, right? So you think, what are they doing? And it does make you wonder. So, what is the thing this company does? You know what I mean? Are they arm trafficking? Are they making illegal drugs? Is it money? Like, what is the real thing? But no one knows. No one really knows. And we're just learning all of these things. Episode one, episode one ends on a real like, yo, because so Mark is an elderly neighbor who he helps. And we learn something crazy at the end of the first episode, which definitely has you, okay, we need to, we definitely need to do more to find out what goes down. We also learn a little bit on the perception of the severance procedure. Episode two, it is we're getting a little bit more info, right, about everything that's going down, at the strangeness of the organization. But we're still really no clearer of knowing what exactly is happening. We still don't fully know, but you're given just enough for you to be so intrigued that you're riding with it still. And then in the third episode, man, like we definitely see that maybe the living situation isn't as much of a choice, and it just there's just so much there. Helly, her situation is getting crazier and crazier. It is really taking a turn. It is really taking a turn. Now, right, I think we're getting a bit more to a place where Mark might do something, right? Who know? He might do something. There seems to be the possibility of the in and the out lives really colliding here. And yeah, they still really haven't given away what the fuck it could be. So I imagine everyone watching this is, you know, coming up with their own kind of idea, their own idea of what the fuck might be rocking, which I have to say would be mad interesting just to see what are other people thinking here, because it is so bizarre, right? He's kind of playing with that work life, social life balance, you know, and that whole control. Because I think, in theory, everyone wants to forget about work once they're out that front door, right? So, like, when you think about it, it's just like, oh shit, this is the thing. This is the thing people want. But then you see some of the things that happen at work, not cool. But you wouldn't remember when you leave work, so you wouldn't be able to get disgruntled, right? You wouldn't be like, oh, I'm gonna take these people to court. I won't be there. There's none of that. But you wouldn't remember. Which then so it gets murkier and murkier, and spying and just all these other things are happening. So yeah, Severance is interesting, man, because it's kind of different to most shows out right now, right? I can't really think of anything else that's doing this, right? I remember that old series. It was NBC, Better Off Ted. Only had 2 seasons, which was a bit of a track because it was a lot of fun, but it was about, the workplace, and the workplace, hey, it was kind of fucked up. The things that they were actually having to do, and the things they put in place to keep people in check, like inventing uncomfortable chairs and just shit like that. So but that was a comedy, right? This is this psychological thriller type of thing. So yeah, it's very different. But hey, I am intrigued. I'm intrigued, people. So a new episode hits. I think it's every Friday, right? Every Friday. So yeah, got a few more weeks to find out where the fuck this story is going. But yeah, I am down, people. So if you enjoy that psychological thing, I think you will be very much hooked on Severance.